I'm on a system later. Well, good day or good morning, good day.
If I go into those countries, I have in the past, but kind of stick out sore thumb. You go way out in some rural remote village, you got a lot of eyes on you. But if you're from that country and somebody from the outside is giving you the resources, then you have a much better chance of helping Christians in need.
So you're part of the chain.
Yeah, and I have worked in those countries before. It depends on the need, it depends on the resources, it depends on the timing. And it depends on what's the most effective way to do it. There are some people who maybe they want to be a lone ranger, or they want that kind of excitement. Hey, I'm going to go into this country undercover, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, but sometimes you can get people caught. Maybe they're not the one. Like, let's say I go into some country that's restricted and I go to a house church, an underground house church, right? Okay, if I get caught, maybe they just kick me out of the country. Maybe I've got, and I'm like, okay, well, what about the people in the house church?
Yep.
That the police followed me to them, so you got to think about like what's the risk to the people in the country. And so sometimes the most effective thing to do is to work with the national in that country.
Got it. Yeah, so that's amazing, man. That's definitely amazing. Really, really honored to hear the story. I mean, I give it to you. I mean, he said that you're not married. I'm guessing you don't have kids. I'm not sure if you do.
I have a daughter. Yeah, I have a daughter.
You do have a daughter. Okay.
I have a daughter. Yes, 28. Yeah, not married yet. So hopefully soon. Yeah, praying about it. Yeah. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah. So you said, but what about the other movie you talked about? Heat movie. What bucks your mind?
Oh man, the whole scene when they hit the armored truck with the truck and they all come out with the guns. I mean, that was the movie that I would play to set my surround sound. When I got a new surround sound, I moved. I had to play that movie to hear all the gunshots come around. I mean, it's the best movie in surround sound. And that movie's definitely over 25 years old. Pretty sure it's over 25 years old.
Yeah, he can't watch that. He's restricted. They say he can't watch that movie. It might trigger him.
It might spark something, But Jose didn't tell me too much. He just said that part. He said just like he said today, and I was like, oh, okay, all right.
The
was the
high.
guy, you know, I was thinking to myself, was the guy being strung out? Because I got strung out for many years, and I did not want to walk into a bank with a gun or anything like that. That wasn't on my mind. You know what I mean?
One thing
smart for that.
he's smarter than that. He didn't do that.
No, he was too. He was smart
not to do that. But it's that if you would have seen his face when I first met him, he had no feature.
What do you mean no feature?
Like,
what do you mean?
Now you got more features. You got some wrinkles now. You got some dimples. But before you didn't have none of that.
You like smooth face, you know, like a baby.
So no one would have thought that you were walking into a bank to do that. It was not.
I guess not.
You wasn't the guy.
Listen, he got that innocent face, and you never think that he'll do anything wrong. Like, you know, you would just hand him the keys to the bank, you know, like, hey, you go ahead, you're good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He just had that.
Hey, listen.
I just flew in from corporate.
Okay,
here you go.
Yeah, I left my debit card. This is my name. Can you reprint me one? You know, that was my thing.
They consider that crime nowadays like a white collar crime.
What, credit card fraud?
I don't think they would consider.
No, not credit card fraud. Well, that's another thing, but you know,
walking into a bank,
robbing a bank. It's still robbing the bank.
That's still
It's still called robbing. It's not a white collar.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
no, I think that'd still be considered violent.
It's still
violent robbery.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought maybe they kind of changed the stuff now with the
what?
I think white collar is more like fraud, tax evasion, something, you know, documentation related.
And most of the time you get more money that way.
Did you watch the story of the movie? It's a true story with a guy that just was out of the Marine Corps. He's a black gentleman that he robbed. Well, he was trying to rob the bank, but he was having a hard time trying to get money from the VA assistance and stuff like that.
It sounds familiar.
And he's trying to take care of his family as well, his daughter, and you know, separated from his wife, and it's just he was homeless, you know, and they kept giving him the run around. And eventually, he just results to go try to rob the bank, but he was really trying to rob the bank. He was more than anything, he was just trying to hold the bank hostage until the VA will give him what's rightly his.
Okay.
You know, they were just, we're still waiting. And years have passed by and nothing has been done. Like, and he's in serious condition.
Yeah.
You know, and he's trying to take care of his family. He's got mental issue, PTSD and all this stuff. And so he just, decided to go to the bank and just close the bank up and let nobody come in. And he had no weapon. Nothing. I think they killed him, unfortunately.
Oh, so
it's a true story. It happened in Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Yeah, it happened after.
I hadn't heard about it, but
me neither.
It's been overseas.
Yeah. So anyway, talking about, you know, it doesn't matter what the reason really why we went to prison. I think a lot of people, why did you go to prison? Like, I get a lot of people that, and I hate people ask me that stuff because this is the stupidest thing. I tell people all the time, we all deserve to go to prison. We all broke the law somehow.
I think that we all could serve some time in prison without being in prison. You know, being a drug addict for so long I was in prison within myself. So, you know, it was. But the thing is that people are pretty. You know, when you say that, you know, and I'm speaking again from me. You know, some people are very interested in knowing what, you know, because we're not meeting you as that person. We're meeting you as a completely different person, a reborn person. So when you say what you've been through, you got to expect people's mouths to drop, their jaw to drop, you know, at least some people. I know some people that won't give a damn about it. They don't want it, whatever. That's, you know, it is what it is. But there is some people that might relate or like movies like that. And they're just like, yo, tell me more about that. And, you know, I know it's hard for you guys because I know it's hard for Jose. Like I said, I know there's a lot of things Jose hasn't told me and I don't ask, you know what I mean? But there's other people that they do want to ask, they do want to know, and that could lead them to Christ. You know, so
absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, and I tell people that, you know, one thing that I learned, I don't know, like I used to get people like, don't talk about that, you know, don't talk about your past, or you know, a lot of the reasons was to protect their own name, you know, which, you know. I get it, right? I get it, you know what I'm saying? I get it, like we want to protect the countries that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, that's different, right? But I'm like, you're trying to protect your what's the word?
Your profile, your who you are
Your
now.
status, your profile.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it in social media.
Your image.
Yeah.
There you go.
Your online presence, online image. I don't know. Yeah. Something like
But,
that.
but when you're genuine, and I could speak again, when you're genuine, if you want to go that far, it's your option to say that story or not. But when you do and you're being genuine, a lot of people, they feel that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it could be a topic that they really don't even entertain, but for some reason, while you're speaking about it, you know, they're watching, they're entertained and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, you know, to share it, just like you said, because people, yeah, they just don't expect it, and but I always want to share it in a way where the best part of it is what God did through it, you know. So if I tell people like, oh, I robbed a bank, you know, a couple of banks when I was 19, okay, that kind of shocks them, you know, and they want to listen. But at the same time, I don't want that to be the thing that sticks in their mind. You know, what I want it to be is, hey, this kid, he was a kid, you know, and did this really stupid thing, and robbed this bank, but it's not cool like in the movies, you know. It's just really stupid thing to do.
Even in the movie was stupid too, as well, because you know,
Stupid.
you saw how I ended.
And it was really cool.
It was really cool watching it.
was
Yeah.
cool. It was a tragedy in my life at the time. I mean, it really wrecked my family. It really wrecked me, you know, to the point of, I was suicidal when they put me in solitary confinement, you know, when they caught me and arrested me. And because I realized I was looking at 40 years, you know, I was 19. So I'm thinking, wow, you know, and you can't describe that feeling to anybody. You know, you can't describe the feeling of when you actually get arrested and they put you in that little cell, and for the first time in your life, that's it. You lose all freedom and all control. And it's impossible to explain that to somebody, like the true trauma of that feeling, you know. And so
so explain the suicidal. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's
well,
what do you mean?
Put me
Like
in solitary confinement, and for the first few days, I just sort of slept a lot, which I hear psychologically can happen.
Okay.
It wasn't really real, but then they sent me to Quantico Marine Brig, and that was more of like the sliding door, you know, with the bars and clang and you know, and
the loudest bang you ever probably hear in your life.
Yeah.
It's the loudest bang you ever hear in your life.
Echoes through that.
And I've been through gunshots, bombs, and those have a specific sound, but nothing sounds more gruesome than a slam of a jail bar. A jail bar.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's when it hit me, and there's like this little window, and I remember it was in the evening. It was just one of those beautiful Virginia summer evenings, and just beautiful golden, you know, they call it golden hour, and looking out there and thinking, and here I am in the cell, and just a few feet away is this window, and there's outside is my family, outside is freedom, outside is the life that's over for me. You know, I'm going to be an old man, I'm thinking, you know, and spending the next 20 to 40 years in prison. And at that point, I was like, I don't want to stick around for this. I cannot do this. I couldn't handle it psychologically or emotionally. So, you know, I was just trying to find a way to end it right there, whether it's like taking the laces off my boots, you know, something like that. But I was like, I just can't handle it. So, but at the same time, I grew up in a Christian family, and I always believed in God. I just didn't follow God, didn't submit to him. But I knew there was a God. So I'm kind of planning out how I'm going to end my life, because this was after I got caught for robbing 2 banks, and and then God spoke to me and said, hey, you know, I'm here, I'm real. You can give your life to me. You know, there's a better way. And so it was definitely through the power of the Holy Spirit. that could overcome I was basically 100% committed to ending my life that day.
Wow.
I was like, this happening. So,
Wow.
and knowing that I was like, okay, if I confess my sin to God and give my life to him right now, nothing's going to change. Right. I'm like, I'm still stuck in prison. Like, this doesn't change anything, so I can only give God the glory for working through me, giving me that strength through his spirit, to get down on my knees and just confess my sin and give my life to him. And then it really was like everything changed. This darkness in the cell lifted. It was like just this beautiful light filled the cell. Not physically. I'm not saying there was any sort of physical manifestation, but it was just this feeling, that the very presence of God there in the cell. And yeah, nothing changed physically, but absolutely everything changed spiritually and emotionally, mentally. And it was still rough. It was still really difficult after that, but there was that transformation in me. And that's when I was saved. And that's when God began to work in that whole situation. He was at work long before that, right? But I mean, that's when I was praying and trusting him and seeing him work miracles in that process.
That sounds like a miracle right there.
Absolutely, it was for me, no doubt. Yeah. So that's when my life changed, and so after that, I was going to go to trial. I was getting prosecuted by the military, so I went ahead and pled guilty. I was like, okay, I think this is what God wants me to do, so I pled guilty. And at that point, they said, okay, well, if you plead guilty, then we're going to give you a pre-trial agreement. Okay, so you're going to sign an agreement for 8 years. And then you're going to plead guilty, and there's going to be a jury. The jury is going to be like officers, sergeants, things like that. They're going to listen to you. The defense can present evidence. You can present evidence as to mitigating factors, like how much time should he get? So it wasn't about being innocent or guilty. It's like, okay, you're guilty, just you get to present evidence as to why maybe you should get 1 year, and the defense prosecution is going to say, no, you need to go for like 20 years. So we had it was like a single day, and the jury gave me, okay, let me take one step back. While I was in jail before that day, in solitary confinement still, I was praying and fasting. I said, okay, God, I know I'm going to go to jail. I said, but hey, if you're willing to tell me how long I'm going to be there, that would be a great blessing and a promise to me. Just kind of prepare my heart. And even before the end of the prayer, I felt like God said 3 years. And I felt so sure I just stopped praying, asking, and I just started praising God. I was like, okay, thank you. Later that day, I call my dad. They wheel a little telephone up to the cell, reach through the bars and dial collect. And my dad's like, hey, I want you to know I was praying today. And I feel like God told me that you're going to be in jail 3 years, And he said, I'm talking to my mom's father, so my grandfather. And my grandfather said, I really feel like Daniel's going to be in prison 3 years. I said, wow, thank you, Jesus,
Confirmation, basically.
Confirmation. So a couple months down the line, have that hearing. I forget what they call it, but, hearing. Mm-hmm. Go through that. Jury comes back 9 years. 9 years. Of course, I always had that hope in me. I was like, oh, man, they could just say, hey, you're a good kid. You gave your life to Jesus. You can go home now. You kind of always, I was like, maybe Jesus. But they gave me 9 years. So even right then, I knew, okay, well, now I fall back on the pretrial agreement, 8 years. Mm-hmm. And even right then, my lawyer said, okay, you're going to do about 6 to 7 years of that because this is the military. Don't have
85%.
Yeah, you're going to do a lot of time. I was like, okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah.
Why did you go through the military if you weren't in the military? Why did you do the
No,
military?
he was.
I was in the military.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I kind of skipped over that. I apologize. But the feds arrested me, and the feds were going to prosecute me. And then the military stepped in and said, no, we want to prosecute him. And so I was in a federal facility for like a week. and then the military came and picked me up and took me to Quantico Marine Brig. And so at the time I was disappointed, but God used that. So I went from 40 years max in the federal system to 20 years max in the military. The difference being the military, you're going to do all your time.
Yeah.
So, but so then they shipped me off to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, the castle. There's Fort Leavenworth, like the federal penitentiary, and then there's Fort Leavenworth USDB, which is the military prison, and even older. It's like they were putting people there during the Civil War, so it was really, really.
It's a castle. The reason why they call it a castle is it's so old. It looks like a castle. It looked like a castle.
A little bit like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. What Shawshank Redemption?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A bit old style.
Yeah.
Old style.
The building looked like that basically, and so
that's creepy.
Yeah, very, very creepy. Yeah,
it was creepy. Very dark place.
People used to call it a dungeon. And stuff.
It has a history. If it's that old, they had a lot of history.
Very old.
A lot of violence.
You're talking about Civil War. Think about that. You're talking about Abraham Lincoln time. All right, that's how old this place is. And it wasn't the cleanest place. It was the mustiest place. What else can you remember about that place anyway? If you would like to remember anything.
Of course, it was a very dark place, but you don't really expect anything else when you're talking about a prison. But I remember pulling up. I'd never seen it before. You can see it from miles away. It had imagine it's called I guess sort of a panopticon design, where it's sort of like a wagon wheel design without the rim, right? So you've got this huge huge center rotunda that's probably about 10, 11 stories high at least, with this giant gold and bronze dome that just gleams, and then you've got these massive wings that come off of the rotunda. So you can see it miles away. And I thought, wow, this is where I'm going to spend like 6-7 years. I had no idea what to expect. I was like, man, am I have to go in there swinging, or, what's it going to be like? And it's just overwhelming and intimidating, dark. But the thing is as soon as I got up there, went through I think it's like a 2-week period where you're kind of downstairs in the basement, and they kind of indoctrinate you into the prison and test you and get you ready and all that kind of stuff, and do all the exams, psych exams, physical exams, send you upstairs. Then it wasn't long. It may have been the first or second night that I met Jose. You were there just 2 nights down there? 2 weeks down. Oh, I think it was like 2 weeks. It could have been longer. Yeah. Okay. But where they they call them fish. When you're new in prison, fish. And I think it's because they stick together like a school of fish, and you're like, let's all, stick together. So we went from the heat now to do you ever remember that movie Blood In, Blood Out? Yeah. How do you know?
Oh, that's one of my favorites, man. That movie. One of my favorites.
How the hell did he remember that name? And I don't remember it.
I forgot the Spanish title, but
do you remember Blood In, Blood Out?
Of course, bro. The Mexican, the guy gets in a wheelchair. I know the whole thing. I watched, bro.
Right? 3 friends, 3
Come
brothers.
on. Yeah.
So we went from the heat, now we're in the blood, Blood In, Blood Out. Another baby face looking guy that played that. I always remember him from the movie La Bamba. So he became La Bamba to the Blood In, Blood Out guy. Like, dude, how you play this thug? You know what I'm saying? When you got that baby face,
Yeah.
So he comes. Here we are in locked up in prison, right? And here comes this young man. And keep in mind, he's white. Yeah.
Okay.
Surprise.
I'm white too, you know what I'm saying?
I was wondering when that was going to come up.
I was like, well, and when you come up to prison, when you're a fish, you have to be dissected into your own groups. Unfortunately, I didn't agree with that. The Hispanic people went with the Hispanic people. The black people went with the black people. The nerds went with the nerds. Or you want to come pedophiles with the pedophiles. And then And then you got the white boys, you know, the Aryan race, whatever you want to call them.
In brotherhood. Yeah.
Aryan brother, yeah. The only thing that were missing on that side of the area was motorcycles. I mean, that's all. It's like motorcycle gangs. That's what it seemed like to me.
Bikers.
Yeah. So, what do I go with this white dude, babyface that we call babyface? And I'm like,
The guppy walked
he
in.
falls into the wrong hands. What's gonna happen to him? You know what I'm saying? So I had to adopt this kid in the Latino group.
This is like a movie, you guys. So you're breaking this down like a movie, bro, right now.
I had to adopt him as a Latino and tell the Latino guys he's cool with us. Right? He's good.
Yeah, he did.
He did not hang out with the white folks.
No. I mean,
he did, but he didn't hang out with them.
Not the bad whites.
Yeah, just certain white folks, right?
The good the white kids.
The believers,
right.
The ones that came to Christ. Yeah. And then there was a guy named Hoghead, which he had a big head. He was black, and he loved Jesus passionately. He also vouched for him in the black group. So he was able to walk through the prison without any problem. He had some problems.
No, I mean, like, I couldn't, do whatever I wanted.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, he didn't get front seat like I used to get front seat in the black guys. And I didn't get no front seats on one side.
I just didn't have to worry too much. As long as I kept my nose clean, no one was gonna, get in trouble.
Yeah. We made sure he wasn't in the showers by himself neither. So well, I don't know about that. There was some guys. There was a guy named Quick. He was quickly ready.
There's always one.
There's always one. You know that for a fact. Oh, I wonder how he is. Anyway, but thankfully we didn't have that problem. I mean, because by the time he got there, he doesn't know this. I don't know if you knew this. That before he got there, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like cyclical. Right?
Yeah,
and I know that I kind of came in at a good point.
Yeah, he came in at a good point when it was. I mean, when I got up, there was fires all the time, lockdown all the time, and stuff like that. And when I started Bible studies and started preaching the Word of God, it started changing.
How long were you in there before he walked in?
A year, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
So you were fairly new. You were fairly new as well.
Yeah. But by that time, I was already,
settled in.
A good reputation.
Yeah.
And with Jose, and he's a charismatic, outgoing guy, and he very relational, and he could reach anybody. He could talk to anybody and go into any community. He had really good standing everywhere.
Yeah. So that was by God's grace, God's design, because I knew when God put me there, it was for that reason, to reach out to people. But it was where actually we started Bible study. Right, we're doing Saturday morning Bible studies, and I don't remember if you remember in the early beginnings while I was there, how it was kind of strategic that there were other people trying to utilize the room at some time, but then it filled up so much that the black leaders will come in and says, "You're not here for Bible study. You need to get out." And it got to the point that guards started listening to the Bible study. It got to the point that eventually Chaplain heard about the Bible studies that we were having on Saturdays, that he came and wanted to be part. And which I don't remember. I don't remember that I made him teach that one day. You don't remember that? Yeah.
Sorry, I don't remember that.
But I made him teach. Okay. He's like, he didn't come here to teach. He's like, I came here to participate like everybody else. He goes, no. Well, you're the chaplain. I want you to teach. Well, what do I have to teach? Well, I would do that. And, what will Hoghead have to teach? I'm saying, you're here. But anyway. But it was a bad place. They try to cause us to go back to that cycle where he's saying where people are, these are prisoners. They need to act like animals. They need to be, they try to push certain buttons to make us act like that. And some idiots sometimes would do it, but at the most part, we try to keep it normal. I say, no, I want to use prayer to bring down this place. So we remember the story of Jericho. There's in the Bible study, which I don't know if you've read it or heard about it. There was these walls that separated the people of Israel to the land that they had to pass to, and God told them those walls were going to come down without them breaking anything. And all he told them was just go around it 7 times a day. Was it? One time a day, and then the 7th day 7 times around, and on the 7th day, 7th time around, they will blow the trumpets and the walls come down. Okay. So they would go around and pray around this place. So what we used to do, we used to go outside and we would pray. I say, God, this place is evil. There's people that shouldn't be here or are here, and if they were on the Civil War, I was like, it's not just. I say, and you're just God. And as we prayed, I don't know how long. How long were you there? Probably 2 years.
So there I was there about just a little under 2 years.
Yeah, under 2 years he was there. Under that time of 2 years he was there, I was probably there about maybe 3.5, 4 years. I was already there, and the ceiling starts falling in pieces. And they're like, well, we got to figure out something because it's, hurting some people, hurting guards. It's not safe. So what did God begin to do? They started sending prisoners to their local federal bureau, federal prisons.
Yeah, they made a deal. So basically they said we want to take the majority of inmates there, and we want to transfer them from the military into the federal system. And then their idea was, okay, we're going to keep the worst of the worst, and we're going to build a new, smaller, modern, maximum security prison.
Right.
Now we didn't really know what's going on.
Right. We at the time we didn't know. We know this now, right? So, but I don't remember. Did I leave first or did you leave first?
I almost positive I left first because I remember you. So it was interesting. What happened is we knew people were getting shipped off to the feds, and that when you get shipped off to the feds, they try to put you in a facility that matches your security level, and then closest to the city where you're from, where your family is. And it was happening to where, like, in the morning, your cell door would open like 6 a.m., and then be like, chow call, you go eat, and then work call, you go work, but my cell door didn't open one morning. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then, that's kind of how you find out, like, okay,
they don't tell you.
Pack your stuff. You're going to the feds. And I think I remember you came up and we prayed and said goodbye.
Yep. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, now I remember. Yes,
I think
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
I was praying that he would go because we knew that being in the federal system was going to be better. It was hard, kind of like that moment of, like, he'd been my brother. For that time there, we'd be praying almost every night. Having Bible study. So, but we knew that God was like the next step.
Yep, and we're preparing. Like, really. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So did you serve the 9 or did you get out in 3?
Great question.
So I go to the feds. They send me. I was from Dallas at that time. My parents lived in Dallas, and the closest facility was Federal Medical Center, FMC, in Fort Worth, and it's like low medium, and the thing is, I like to go from, I didn't know what to expect, right? we stopped. They put us on the bus is half full. Then we stopped at Leavenworth, not Fort Leavenworth, Leavenworth feds, and the dudes that got on that bus, they were like the real, like hardcore, inmates and like murderers and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Can I pause right quick? Can I pause real quick? Hold on, pause real quick. We just left Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
Now we're starting the next movie. It's called Con Air.
Oh my God, Con
Bus.
Oh, Con Bus. Oh, you didn't go on air?
No. So they just put us on because we were in Kansas.
All right, got it.
We're going to Fort Worth. So So with me, I was like, dear Jesus, please, I just don't want to go where these guys are going. They take us forward, and Oklahoma. Went to a center for a couple of nights where they kind of get you indoctrinated into the federal system. I didn't really know what to expect. Go get to the Federal Medical Center in Fort Worth, and I mean, it's just total change. You walk in and it's like a beautiful college campus. There's like a beautiful yard. It's dorm style. There's no cells. You've got vending machines, your ID inmate card. You also, you put money on your account. You've got vending machines. You can get snacks. You've got pool table, ping pong table. You got to work. I mean, look, it's still prison, but it's not a country club like people say. But to go from someplace that looked like Shawshank Redemption, to a place with sunlight and flowers, and the first guard we saw, I can't remember who I walked in with. It was me. I think it was a guy. He lived in another wing. We walk in. And I think he used to be a guard there at the
Okay.
Leavenworth or something like that. Anyways, he's like, guys, he's like, you came from Leavenworth, right? For Leavenworth. He's like, we're like, yeah. He's like, it's going to be a cakewalk. You guys are going to be fine. Like,
The music to your ears.
Yeah. So it's just a blessing. Like, yeah, again, still prison, but it was just from where I came from. I was like, okay, this is so much better. This is so much better. And so start off kind of like in a 12-man dorm room, and over time go to like then a 6-man room, 4-man room, until I finally wound up with a 2-man room with a great guy. And yeah, it's just like a little dorm room. And then I had a job. I worked at a boiler plant there, in the feds, and you make a little bit of money, whatever. They got, weights and an outdoor area. Yeah.
But so how long did you do?
So there, so I was there for about 6 months, and then so I was about 2 years, probably about 2 years, 6 months in, something like that. And they said, okay, well, the feds were like, all these military guys, they're taking up room, so let's give as many of them parole as possible. So I got a notice and said, you're eligible for parole, but you got to have all this paperwork and the documentation. You got to have it so much. You got to get letters of recommendation. You got to secure a job. You got to secure residence. They need to see all this proof. So I was getting all that stuff done. My parents were great. They were living in Dallas. They would come drive over and visit me on weekends to Fort Worth. I was able to see my sister, my brother, my friends. They were helping me. And then I was getting prepared for my parole board. And then one day at mail call, everybody, you go mail call or whatever, and they just give me this little folded piece of paper. I just opened it up and it said, you've been granted parole. And didn't have to go to the or nothing. I still remember that day. I was like, jumping up and down in the hallway.
That's crazy.
And I was like, well, I was like, I'm leaving. So, so they said, okay, well, you can do like 3 more months in Fort Worth and then just go home, or you can get out early and go to a halfway house and do 3 months. At the time, I probably should have stayed in halfway. I didn't know too much about a halfway house, but I decided, okay, I'll do a halfway house, instead, because I'm thinking, hey, I get to get out, So anyways, get out.
Wow. I didn't know.
3 months in a halfway house outside Dallas. And then by the time I left the halfway house and was able to move home on parole, completely done, it was 2 years, 11 months to the day.
Wow.
2 years, 11 months to the day.
So it's very similar to you, Jose. When I asked you, you were sentenced to 15, correct? But God told you you were going to 5.
Appeals. That one. I was one of the first. If you remember, I was one of the first appeals to really been granted in a very, very long time from the military. In all the military appeals, I was like one of the biggest cases on it. A lot of people didn't, and the higher ups in that area did not like that for sure, because they denied it at their position, and then to go to the Supreme Court part and then they accept it was huge. But yeah. And like he said, he went on Con Bus. I went on Con Air.
I forgot you went on Con Air.
I went on Con Air, bro. Before federal marshals, I'll never forget that. Like he said, I was like, where the heck are they taking me with all these? I mean, they had a guy. I'm not kidding you. This is no joke. They had a guy come out in a box, like tied down,
like Hannibal Lecter.
I don't remember that part. Yeah. Oh yeah. He sat down.
Mask.
Yeah, no, he didn't have all that, but they had him tied down, like strapped, like completely strapped. I'm like, this guy? Like,
there's a new movie out right now on Netflix that describes that whole thing. They land in Alaska. They brought this guy in. None of the inmates knew who this guy was. Mask was covered. It's a crazy good movie. It's out right now on Netflix. You just described that whole movie.
yeah. So I mean, they told us, I knew that because according to me, because I'm coming from 411, which was a maximum security prison, so you're traveling with maximum security people,
Inmates.
And then when I'm talking about, they had federal marshals. I mean, they were strapped. You know what I'm saying? There were no they were stewardess there, but they were not serving any drinks. They were just there to make sure the flight was clear, right? And I remember the pilot. I'm like, what is this pilot thinking? Like, you're flying a bunch. I mean, he's probably done a few times, I'm thinking, but you're flying these people, and what about want to get loose? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm worried about the guy that's strapped up. Like, if he happens to just, I've seen movies, so I'm like, are we going down? You know what I'm saying? And I don't remember when Con Air came out. I don't remember when that movie came out, but
I think it was when I was locked up. I think like 98, 99.
Really? So yes.
Something.
So I thought that was movies, right? And I'm here in the airplane, and I'm like, holy moly, this is real stuff. And I went bus Oklahoma flight to, I don't know. My first thought was, I went to a max. I didn't go first to whatever the lower level. They took me to it's in Pennsylvania. It's one of the maximum highest.
You ended up at Fort Dix at the end, right?
I did. Was it Harrisburg?
So, but you went into like a
Harrisburg.
Yeah. Because I was.
Oh man.
I was. They considered me like violent, whatever, and so forth,
which is ridiculous.
And then so they want to. Before you know how the same way before you go to general population, and stuff like that, they tested the people and stuff like that. So I'm sitting there in this group, and I'll never forget it because there was a guy named Muhammad, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy here for? Like, what's Muhammad doing here? Like, he was from Iran, right? And he's like, he just got arrested. He hasn't even gone to court yet. He's like, they got me here because they say I was trafficking drugs, and I'm like, I wasn't trafficking drugs. I own car dealerships. He was from Spain, but he was Iranian, but it was in Spain. And he says, I own car dealerships and stuff like that. And I came here to see somebody. And then the car that I was in, there was drugs. So they caught him in the. Well, he got free though. He was definitely. It's just wrong place, wrong time. And so I remember, and I'm like, dude, where am I going? Like, I definitely want to. I do not want to be there. It was bad. Like, I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of.
I forgot that you were.
And then I don't know what happened. They like, hey, there was a few of us, maybe 4 or 5 of us. They picked us up, and I left Muhammad back, and I tried to introduce Christ to Muhammad, but he was Persian, and I learned some Farsi there with him, but he never really accepted Jesus. But he prayed with me.
You never know.
You never know what happened now. Who knows? Who knows where he's at right now? But I remember him very much. I'll never forget him. Good guy. And so I go to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and I don't know where I'm going. Like where Fort Dix is. I'm saying, I'm going to another military. That's what I thought, because it was a base, right? But Fort Dix had a base, but then outside the base, they separated. They had a federal prison there as well. And again, it was just like he described, vending machines, ID card. And I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, how do I go from this old freaking castle to another horrendous place, worse, then transferred into the castle? I mean, to the Fort Dix.
Fort Dix.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, of course, I ended up doing less of the time because of my appeals and basically what God told me that I was going to do more than 5 years. And I didn't do more than 5 years. So
did you get out first or did I get out first?
You got out first. What year you get out?
I got out. It would have been like November or December 99.
Yeah. So I got May 5th, 2000.
Okay. Okay.
So it was just months after you got out.
Okay.
And so like, it was relatively the same time, which
Yeah.
here you're thinking like you're understanding that God is calling you for a great thing, which we're gonna go back into a little bit because where he's at right now. So we have Bible studies in the prison there, okay, and we talked about we walked around the prison to pray that started falling in peace. So now they were going to build they built another new facility in Kansas with the ideas of converting that place into a museum. Did you know that they want to convert it to a museum? They did convert it to a museum
For a little while.
But it still started falling apart. And you want to be part of the podcast, part of the video, and eventually it got knocked down. And we got videos. I've seen the video where they actually bulldozed the place down. So God answered our prayers. It didn't fall down like Jericho did, but pieces. I mean, got us to the point. I mean, God still answered that. So, but it was those Bible studies that we went through, which we gave every Saturday. And here we're doing wake up different podcasts. We do Bible studies in the morning, 30 minutes in there. But it was those Bible studies. It wasn't so much people going to church that changed. I mean, it helped. It helped, going to church and all that is awesome, and chapel service and everything. But it was more the Bible studies that we have together as men that changed our lives, and which leads you to where you're at today. So now you're a missionary, and
in a sense,
in a place,
yeah,
and so forth.
Yeah, in Thailand, yeah. It's definitely a life I never thought that I never thought I would end up in Asia. I never thought that I'd be doing the work that I would be doing. It's amazing how God opened up doors and led me to that, and just sort of one foot in front of the other, trusting Him. But I'm incredibly thankful for it. It's been amazing.
Next question for you, brother. What else?
It's
stuff you say.
So right after you get out, I'm guessing you're what, 22, 23 years old?
Yeah. I think I was 20, 22, 23. Yeah.
How was your mental state? Did you go straight into the missionary, or what happened before all of this?
I was trying to figure out like what I was gonna do, what to do, and where to go, and I definitely there was probably about 2-3 years where I just wasn't sure, and I was a bit overwhelmed with getting out and kind of having a place and knowing what to do, where to go. But eventually I was in Dallas for maybe about 2 years, and then I went up to Virginia because my sister lived in Lynchburg, Virginia. She'd gone to Liberty University, and so that's when I went up. I wanted to go to Liberty University, and I knew that I wanted to study religion and philosophy, and so I moved up there not long after I got out, maybe about 2 years after that, and started working on my degree at Liberty.
Nice.
Eventually got my bachelor's there, religion and philosophy. And during that time, a little bit after that, I started working with organization that was a faith-based humanitarian organization, and they were working in over 60 different countries, and they were doing humanitarian work as well as Christian work. And so I started working there, and that's when God opened up the door for me to start doing photography, videography, and professional writing with that organization. And that's the kind of work that I'm still doing today. So that's the short story on that.
You gonna lose you, Noah?
Yeah, we did. I thought you're we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, yeah. So I heard professional photography. The Lord opened those doors, and then that's all I heard.
Yeah. So I loved the fact that I was able to do something like photography and writing, and I felt like and teaching skills and gifts I think God has given me, and then to use them in the ministry. So I always felt like I was called to teach, always felt like I was called to write, and then to be able to do that in different countries from different countries and be able to help the church in different countries, yeah, has been a wonderful blessing to me, and it's been an adventure.
But you could have
So you
go ahead.
what I was gonna say is, so you never fell back into anything that you were doing in your past before you went to jail. Right after the 2 years of being outside, you started doing what you're still doing now. So that means you've been doing this for over 2 decades, roughly.
I never robbed any more banks. No, I never.
Well, I didn't mean that, but I mean like anything. You forgot about the Bible. You strayed away from Jesus. That didn't happen.
There were a couple of struggles, a couple of times, yeah. When I wouldn't say I went back to things that I was doing, but getting out and being exposed to a lot of things, that, yeah, there were still a couple of things that I struggled with when I was young. I had Jose there to help me a couple of times when I really needed it, and I really appreciate that. I mean, Jose came one time to Dallas, stayed with me for a few days when I really needed somebody there, and that was a big help. God still with me, God had to still put me through a couple of struggles to keep me submitted to him, keep me surrendered to him. And in his graciousness and kindness, he still moved me through circumstances, even when I didn't quite know what I was doing, and maybe I wasn't completely depending on him. He used circumstances to put me where I am today, which is something that I've always seen, and like I'm just so thankful and grateful for, is that even when it's not that I'd be far from God or not following God, but maybe making a decision where I feel like I'm making it, I'm like, okay, this is kind of what I want to do. I'm going to do it. God still is so gracious and kind that he winds up using that to still allow me to do the work that I'm doing, to kind of move me where he wants me to go. And I'm so thankful for that. And my response, it just makes me respond by wanting to surrender more to him, depend on him more every day.
That's amazing, Daniel. That's really amazing for that happening to you at such a young age. For you to realize that. Definitely on my side, it took me many years to start realizing that I'm still going through that process, and it's I'm actually glad that we're doing this, because these questions that I'm giving you are coming from life experiences right now. Trying to figure out how other people dealt with this and what you dealt with, which was very, very horrific.
So here's the kicker, though. He could have been an author, writer, pastor, professor, any Christian university, with his background and with what God has done with him. What I'm saying, he could have definitely taken on a position like that, and could have got paid pretty well. I mean, most universities pay pretty good, relatively. They pay all right.
Sure.
You could even done a secular school and teach religion or something,
or philosophy or something like that.
You could have made like $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 like they do here at USC. You know what I'm saying? Could have done a good job, but he decides to go away to Asia to help Christians that are hiding, or not hiding, but they just can't live out their public faith like we do here in the US.
Mm-hmm. Some in hiding, but some just can't publicly.
Right.
Different levels of.
What made you do that? Like, you could have been successful here. Like, I'm serious. You wouldn't be needing to really resort to anybody else. You don't have to rob banks no more.
Right.
Let's not forget videography.
On the hills, on the lake somewhere,
You
could have been on a cabin somewhere typing up books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like one of those fantastic authors that are out there, I mean,
yeah.
Am I being wrong? Could you have done that?
I love to write.
Still
I feel
could.
like, but I feel like when I was traveling with World Help and I went to a lot of different countries, God really put a pull in my heart to, there were certain people groups and certain countries in Asia that I felt like I was just supposed to go and supposed to help and do what I could. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I thought it was going to be a book, and I thought it was going to be a documentary, and we started working on that, but circumstances changed, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I might go back to the States. I was only in Asia for like 6 months when working on the documentary kind of had to slow down. Working on a book kind of slowed down, and I thought, okay, I may have to go back to the States. But the people there in Asia that I was working with and helped support me at the time, they felt like, we all felt like I was supposed to stay. And so that's really what has kept me there for over 10 years now. I never thought that I would be in Asia for 10 years ever. I thought it was going to be like 6 months, but, and there were times that I lost my visa, not through anything I did on my own. It was just that governments kind of, there are periods where it's easy to get visas, and then there are times where visas are really difficult to get. And so a couple of times I lost a visa, and I thought I was going to have to come back, but I prayed. I was like, God, if you want to keep me here, please provide me with a visa. I got a visa. There were times like during COVID, I thought everybody, all the foreigners were going to have to leave Thailand. And if that happened, I would have to come back here, and I'd be back here for a long enough period of time where I would need to get my own place, to get a job, to get set up. And after that, I wouldn't be going back to Thailand. So, but Thailand they're amazing. They kept all the foreigners there. They extended visas. So I stayed there during COVID. There were so many times where I felt like circumstances were that I was going to leave Thailand, going to leave Asia. And every time God kept me there. And I'm incredibly thankful and grateful for that. And I love the work that I'm doing there, because I just get to see, not that you don't see this in America, working in ministry. So I don't mean it like that, but I just love the people that I work with, and I love seeing God work in their life. And it's a unique culture, unique people group, and unique ways of reaching them. And then how they are transformed, and the lives of their families and villagers around them are transformed. It's just really amazing to be part of.
Can I ask a question?
Amazing.
How can someone just do what you did? What about if you have a family? Like, how did someone just get up and just say, if they felt led by God, like, leave America?
Yeah. There's
families, land of the free, the where it's prosperity, where to go into a remote place like that, like what?
I know
what goes through their mind? Like, how do they survive?
I mean, I know a ton of families that are over there, that some of them, they made a decision, a husband and wife, and they went through different sending agencies, as some of them, so they set up as missionaries to go. They made that decision together, and then they get supported like through the IMDb or something like that. Then there's other couples that they went to, like, even more prepared than that. They went to school to learn the language for like 2 or 3 years. And then they've got their sending agency, and then they're going, they've got the whole plan, they're on board. Then there's other families that that maybe they just went over and they're Christian, and they just wanted something new. And like maybe some of them have a background in teaching. You can go teach somewhere at a secular school in Southeast Asia, that's pretty easy. And then they said, hey, I want to stay here. Do you want to stay here? Do you want to do ministry here? And then maybe they transition to a Christian school. They're not supported as missionaries. They have jobs there. Maybe they need additional support because the pay is not that great. And then they do ministry. And then I've seen some couples, sometimes the husband's like, I'm not into this anymore. That's the hard thing. Sometimes the wife, they're overseas and she's like, I miss America. So sometimes then they go back, and then sometimes, but I'm not saying that they're going against, to be clear, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes God sends you somewhere, for maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe to another country, and then there's a reason why you're going to go back. right?
And sometimes he uses the wife
or the husband, or the husband, right? So,
yeah.
So it's not always a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's different. There's different ways of going about it, and then sometimes I've known couples there and families of like 5 or 6 kids that have been there in Southeast Asia and Thailand for 15, 20 years. They love it, and they never want to come back to America. They just want to stay there. And then there's others that I've known that were there for 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And then they come back to America, and God has something different for them.
Wow.
So, but it takes money.
Yeah, unfortunately, it takes
do
money.
What you're doing. It takes money. I mean, you're not making that much money, bro. You're making pennies on the dollars over there. You're scraping by, and you still have a livelihood to do it. And eventually, you're going to get married, and you got to support a family and all that over there. To support the ministry, or you got to come back. But it seems like God's got you there and it's keeping you there, and he's been blessing you there. But I think it's so more important that maybe I can't go, maybe Noel can't go, maybe friends that Noel has can't go, whatever, the people in the church can't go, but they have a heart to try to help someone in the mission field. Well, how can they help you, man? I mean, Noel, what do you think? What would be your question? You're more blunt than I am.
I'm more blunt. What does that mean?
Hey, yourself, you don't have no filter.
Oh, blunt. I thought you said blood. I didn't catch you. Yeah, man. I mean, it's the work that you're doing is something. I don't want to use the word envy, but I would love to do that. I would love to do something like that. God is definitely calling to serve. I don't know if you're big on Instagram, but there's several guys that I follow that, man, when I watch them give these people, like the guy, the guy that says, "Hey, I need $1," and then the poor person gives him $1, he turns around and gives him $1,000. I've seen one give somebody a house, and that expression that those people, how they react, just, I don't want to say they do something to my soul. Those videos, it does something to my soul. And I'm blessed. I was really blessed not too long ago, making a lot of money, and just recently I found out that don't mean nothing, man. I don't want it. I'd rather go do that, because that happiness, that feeling of a stranger that you don't know, you're making them so happy, changing their life, for some reason gives me a fulfillment. And I feed the homeless once a month with some of my guys, and our favorite word is, we served the wrong God for a long time, and we finally figured it out and turned around. And we sometimes ask for donations, and then some of the guys don't like to. They're like, "No, don't do that." And then some of them do, but it's needed. If like Jose said, if I can't, you can't. Jose, our friends can't go. There's other ways that you can help someone like you, which it is in donations, and it's a big cause, because you could continue doing God's work in those other countries and spreading the word, and you don't have to worry about income, which I know worrying about income is one of the hardest things to try to not think about, especially if you have a wife, kids, big bills. You know what I'm saying? But I love what you're doing, man, and I'm definitely. I mean, it's amazing to me, and it's what it is. We need more people like you. We definitely need more people like you. I definitely want to learn more about this. I'm definitely know there's a lot of people like that want to learn about it too, but they're ashamed to talk about it. They're ashamed to ask about it. Lost many friends talking about Jesus. Definitely a lot of big changes in my life, and it don't matter. I realize it don't matter because it's not for them. So.
Thank you, brother.
So we put something on our screen there. At DCB, at DC Bowden, PayPal, or Venmo, either one.
Very subtle,
Well, it's been there for like an hour on the recording. It's not there for any reason, right? In particular, it is there for a reason. In particular,
yes,
my man needs some money. All right, his ministry, not my man, but the ministry where he's at. It's a poverty-stricken area. It's not, like a place where he can just go in and make gazillions of dollars, and and it's not like he can promote it, to the world, because he's got to be careful. So by you donating here, it's not like he's going to go out there and maybe he'll go on vacation for the honeymoon in Hawaii or something like that. But that's not what he's going to use the money for. God's going to bless him another way for that. We're not worried about that. Well, we'll do a side donation for that for a special event. But what he's actually doing is it's hard. It's not easy, man. It's not. You guys don't hear when he calls me in this deepest, moment.
Mm. He's always been there for me. Always.
I try. Whatever I can do, I'll do.
No, but right? I mean, just like in general, like beyond that, Jose's been, one of my best friends, my closest brothers for 25 years now, and he's always been whatever I needed, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish I could do more. I mean, I tell you, I don't know. God's blessed me with what He has blessed me. Maybe I just haven't been so steward-like as I should be. But I want you guys, if you're listening to this, DC Bowden, PayPal, Venmo, please provide support for him, please. At least she's asking to look. Please help my friend. Help my friend. So I mean, she's joining the podcast so that you get a little sentimental if you're a dog lover and you want to help DC Bowden PayPal. Like I could put videos of him in underground churches. I mean, he has videos about it and stuff. He's done even mini-series books and stuff like what's it, documentary?
Short videos.
Yeah, short documentaries that he has. Yeah. But the problem with trying to show that is that if it gets out to the wrong person, they'll find the place or they'll find the person, even though they're kind of, blurred faces and stuff like that. These people are, top secret people. They're like CIA type. They'll figure out the space. So we have to be careful. Sure, they may get his face and find out where he's at, but he's in Thailand and he's okay there. But sometimes he does have to go somewhere. He is at risk. Really is. But if you got some money, it can help. There's some people that need money. We do this for the world, right? We use bribery to be set free or whatever. Well, not that we need that because we got Jesus, but sometimes money helps. Well, not sometimes. A lot of times, money helps. We live in a world that requires currency. It's a thing that makes the world move. So I definitely. Well, how can you stretch this out, Noel? How can we stretch out to?
Listen, it all goes back to the Word of God, and if you're not saved, or if this is touching you in any way, what Daniel is doing, guys, this is my first time talking to this gentleman. I was just told about him yesterday. Jose told me a little bit about him, and I'm completely moved with your story, and I know there's a lot more because we're talking about close to 30 years of you doing this probably. If this is something that is touching you guys that are watching this, and anything can help this gentleman with what he's doing, let's not let the devil stop his work, because that amount of time, and he sacrificed possibly being an author, like Jose said, a videographer, a professor. Those are big positions and big things that you could still accomplish if you wanted to, but you choose not to. You choose to do what's in your heart, which a lot of people block those feelings when God is trying to give them to them. So for these people that are watching this, anything will help. Like, that's the PayPal, that's the Venmo, very easy to remember. I think you guys said earlier, if you wanted to donate a certain amount and wanted to get a receipt so you could write it off, there is an organization that we'll pin up someplace after when this gets edited. And if you have that, I've been to churches and I've seen people hand over $1 million checks, like nothing. So anything is possible. And for you doing this long, and and being bold to be here, and you guys talking about how financially hard this is, it's amazing that you haven't fallen to any other lifestyle or choosing to go to be a professor, a photographer, videographer. You're sticking with what is in your heart, and that's amazing. So guys, don't, you have to, you know, if, like I said, this is touching you and you're feeling that little prick in your heart, do what you got to do.
Thank you. And I just want to say, like, I live as simply as possible, you know, in Thailand. I live in the north. I really don't travel except for up in the mountains where I'm going to villages, you know, and teaching and things like that. I teach at an ESL school for my visa, English as a second language. And I do work that I can with writing and photography and videography for different ministries, you know, sometimes, but it's ministry pay. So, you know, so sometimes, you know, visas are expensive. To come back here to America, I came back this trip because my father passed away a couple months ago. And so
sorry to hear that.
He's a Christian. We know he's with Jesus. So there's a lot of peace in that. But it is, things come up and it's a bit tough, you know, because coming back to the States with tickets and rental cars, things like that, food, stuff like that kind of can add up. And so generally I try to live as simply as possible, you know, in Thailand. But then there's always things that come up, right? It's life. And so that's when sometimes it can get a little difficult.
Well, I'm gonna be blunt. I mean, do you do what God, whatever money falls in your lap, you know? I know you're gonna try to be a faithful steward to what God gives you because it's God's given you, even if it's utilizing people that are gonna give. We shouldn't be thinking, oh, where is this money going to, man? Like if you're touched by Daniel's story, and you know, we don't want to put horrific stories, a picture of what he does. I'm not, you know how they put those people with the kids and all that with the swallow. I'm not gonna do that. If God's spirit doesn't touch your heart to say, just with what you're hearing, if you're not moved by God, then, you know, I'm not gonna be able to move you. I'm not gonna string along some emotional sound in the background to just make it sentimental. No, I'm just gonna say, listen, man, help my brother out. So I'm asking. We spend so much money on stupid stuff. Here you can actually invest. We invest in stupid stuff as well. Sometimes we invest in some currency, and then that currency goes backwards, and we lost all that money. You know, so if you want to consider it a loss, then consider it a loss. But for God, it's not a loss. I'm gonna tell you right now. So this is the best crypto you can invest in right now. It's called DC Bowden. Add DC Bowden PayPal Venmo, and he's laughing, but I'm being serious. I'm serious.
You are.
I've invested in crypto and hoping for a big spike. It went for a little bit, and the spike is gone, and now it's less than what I initially put in. So I'm like, what did I really do? What did I really? I know it's a roller coaster ride. So you know what? Let's put our money on DC Bowden. You know, let's put our bets on him. You know, and what God is doing in his life. You know what I'm saying? Like let's be real. You know, let's put that motion. Let's put that paper where it belongs.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I gotta talk like that because you know most of the people that watch our video are urban, so they understand that lingo. You know, for the country folks out there, y'all got some you know those bucks, and you know put some bucks where it needs to be going. You know what I'm saying? So help my brother here. You know, so he can go yonder. You know, I can speak that lingo too, bro. You know. En español, mi gente, si quieres ayudar a una iglesia, las iglesias allá en Asia y usar mi amigo aquí, le puede mandar dinero a DC Bowden PayPal Venmo. Por favor, ayuda en ese sentido. But I mean, I know he has to go. I know we've taken a lot of his time because his time is limited. He's got to go see his mom in Florida, which he hasn't seen in a long time. I'm surprised that, you know, he didn't go there first and then put me for last, but he decided to utilize my space as a stomping ground, and then, you know, get fed, and then and keep on driving through down to Florida. Man, we want to pray for him, you know, that he has safe travels and that he gets back. We want to pray that also that if a marriage or a wedding is in the foreseen future, that, you know, it'd be a place that maybe, you know, hey, no, it's maybe a place that we and you and I and your family can go to and watch the wedding.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
I would love that. Absolutely.
And maybe if you want to go teach finances or whatever in Thailand, I mean, I'm sure he could find you a job
Yep.
out there.
Yep. Absolutely.
He's probably thinking
Hey,
about. He's probably been thinking
listen,
about it the whole time.
I've been thinking about leaving the United States for the last couple months. You know that. You know,
and he
listen,
US of A. You know, he does. He's definitely
I
very
do.
conservative and very Trump,
Yeah.
you know, follower and everything and so forth like that. So,
Yes, sir.
but this is temporary. We're looking for eternal rewards. Any last words, Daniel, before we close out?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. Thank you. It's been wonderful spending time with you, Jose, catching up with you. It's been great getting to know you, Noel, and just talking with you. Thank you so much. Like, I just feel like it's been wonderful to have the opportunity to share what I'm doing. Yeah, thank you, and I praise God and thank God for the work that He's doing in all of our lives. It's a miracle, you know, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Everything's timely.
Mm-hmm.
This is timely. I mean, we started podcast, Noel, week 7, you know, and it's growing. We got a lot of people viewing our stuff, and which is great for God's glory. And I know that this will circulate through through YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch, whatever other platforms there is. I want to make sure that we can get this edited properly, so that it gets put out very good and immediately, of course. And then you could also we'll do whatever you want. Once we have a copy of the edit, you can do whatever with it as well and share. I know that I would love to have put you in front of one of my churches and stuff like that. But I think this is so much more powerful. I mean, the church is powerful. Don't get me wrong, because God's there. But the day and age that we live right now, it's they'll watch a podcast of interest like this, and it'll fall on the right people's laps, in ears and heart, and their pockets will speak out in response from their heart. So I know that for a fact, and that now the reason why I did this video is to get money, even though it was at DC Bout and PayPal, Venmo again, hint, hint. It's not so much about the money. It's just the fact that many of us are so scared of leaving our comforts to serve or to be on the mission field. So maybe if you're not too scared of losing some money, you could do that at least. Or maybe you're not able physically to do that, but you want to, but you can't. But you may have some monies that you can provide to support. You can do that. There's options. And I just want to close out in prayer. I'm gonna let you pray first.
Okay.
And then I'll let Noel pray next, and then I'll finalize the prayer.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Dear Jesus, God, thank you so much for just the amazing work you're doing in all of our lives, and the amazing, miraculous, unique story that you give to each of us, and you're calling each of us to you, and your grace to each of us, and saving each of us. You give us a unique story and a testimony, and you want us to use it for your glory. And Lord, thank you for the opportunity to share and just fellowship, time with my brothers here. Thank you for the brotherhood, the friendship, the fellowship that I've had with Jose for the past 25 years, for the work that you have done in his life and will continue doing. And God, I pray that you will bless all of us in our efforts, individual efforts, but our efforts together, and everyone watching this, Lord, that you would continue to, in our hearts, grow love for you, our worship of you, our praise of you, that we can reflect you and glorify you more and more each day. In your name I pray.
Amen. Oh, Father God. This has been an amazing morning. Just meeting one of my cousin's best friends that has a testimony that is amazing. The work that he's doing out there in Asia sounds amazing. The blessings that he's giving to other people is amazing. I see the genuine in this gentleman. I see what he's doing and what he's turned away, the opportunities that he could have done anything with his talents, but he chose to serve you, Lord. He chose to spread your word in the toughest places in this earth. That is amazing, Lord. That is teaching me, letting me know that it's not all about us, it's about others. And I'm very grateful and very appreciative to hear this story, because it definitely pricked my heart. Um, Again, Father God, touch people's hearts to help Daniel with his future and what he's doing. In your name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Oh, Father, as tough as this is, it's tough to see him, and it's tough to see him go, because the time is very limited. It's short. But I realized, even in the shortest amount of time, much can be accomplished if we use it effectively. So we thank you for the very small amount of time, that fellowship we had together. Even though it's not been personal one-on-one, as I would have loved to have been, but it has been. Now we added an extra person, my cousin Noel, into this personal realm. And we've also added anyone that's going to watch this, God, into our personal lives as well, so that we can be an open book to see our lives, to see our minds and what we think about, and what's our passions, what's our desires, God. You know, for the very long time, our heart desires always, since I've known you, since you've came into my life, is to serve you. I have lost a desire uh, for wanting to work in this world, God, for things of this world. But I know that's not what you want me to. You still want me to continue doing that until you say otherwise, God. You know how I would love to just travel to many places and speak of your name, God, and certain circumstances is not allowing that. But you know what? This social media, these videos, these reels will go to as far as you want it to go. Will reach the particular person that needs to reach. Will speak to the life that the heart needs to be spoken to. Will transform the life into the person. It's not about what I see happen. It's what I know you will make happen. Because your word says it will go out and not return to you void, for it will do as it says. That's how powerful your word is. That's how powerful you've done in my life. It is crazy to think that 20 something plus years later, 25 to be exact, since I've been out and free, it took 25 years to be bold and to speak out your truth, God, and not wait on nobody, but just wait on you, God. It took me that long. I was looking at it all the different ways, God. I see this is the way you wanted me to do it all along. If I just was to obey your voice at the very beginning, I can see how you're working in Daniel's life, God. And I pray for him, God. I pray that your hands of mercy be upon him, of grace, and you keep him. You keep him. Keep him. Don't let the enemy infiltrate his life at the left time that he has here, God. stories upon stories will be spoken about, not because of him, because who he is, Father. In Jesus' holy name, amen. Thank you for joining us. Wake Up Different podcast. This is not the live, it's just a recording, and we really appreciate you joining us. And again, please help my brother at DC Bowden via PayPal, Venmo. And if you want to connect to him on Instagram, it is
be DC underscore
Bowden.
Yeah.
Is his Instagram page. It's a private page. Can't publicize it, but if you want to message me or at the Real Credit King, we can vouch for you, and then he can connect. We got to do like the mob. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to protect him. You know what I'm saying? So it's the way it is. Noel, any last words?
Man, God bless you, my brother. And definitely, this is not the last time we'll be talking.
Yeah, I hope not. Thank you so much, man.
And
it's great talking with you.
I'll make sure I get his mom's address so you can go send him the.
Yeah.
Because it's ideally, because he said he loved the. He loved the.
I'll mail both.
And then when you sent me, soon after he said that, you sent me the picture of the blue and all that, and I said he's a Cowboys fan. I said this would be perfect, and if you could give him that while he's there, so he could fly out with that on, it'd be great. Now, especially if he's gonna have the cool weather over there and so forth.
Absolutely.
And maybe something for Anka or music.
Yeah.
Something for music. I don't know what we could get music.
Okay.
She's an artist. She's a singer and does all kinds of stuff. So maybe something for her too.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. God bless, guys.
Bye.